Jace Denman for Flag Family Media. I'm here with Dragon men's basketball head coach Jason Kemp. Coach, a split at home this weekend. I know we talked last week about how splitting on the road is kind of fine, but you want to take care of business at home. Augustana, just based on watching it, shot just ridiculously, to say the least. But then you rebounded, had a good night against Wayne State. So talk to us a little bit about how that weekend went last weekend.
Yeah, we've been a consistent offensive team all year long. It's interesting when you have your best offensive night of the season and your opponent has the best offensive night of any team in the country and beats you. Mm-hmm. And so that was a remarkable stat that I shared with our team as we moved on to Wayne State. And to their credit, they were able to fix it over the course of 24 hours. In yet another game where our opponent didn't play, they had 24 hours more rest than us. Mm-hmm. And so we rose to the occasion defensively, played really well on that side of the ball against Wayne. Also did what we did, what we've been able to do all year long on offense and had a good win that second night.
When you talk about that weekend, there was a scheduling quirk based on the weather and teams not being able to get to Crookston. We're a little bit farther north, had some bad weather. I guess the question to you, maybe we'll talk to Coach Nelson about this as well. Were you fine with the idea of playing back-to-back as opposed to trying to rearrange and play a Friday, Sunday or anything like that? Was that more your preference?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with whatever is in front of us as long as it's the same for everyone.
There you go.
And so the challenge of having to put my guys out on the court with playing a team that's fresh, and that was the third time we've had to do that this year based on some scheduling issues with the NSIC as well. And so to their credit, we're 2-1 in those games. We've got one more coming up in February. But I as long as it's the same for everybody, let's tip it up and play.
There you go. When we look back at last weekend's game, I know I had a chance to talk to assistant coach Jack Thompson, talk to him a little bit about Friday's game because I was at home watching that one because even I didn't want to drive across the metro to get over there. But seeing the difference in effort and defensive intensity when it came to the rebounding, I mean, you talked a little bit about how you liked your team's performance Saturday, but was there a different emphasis on anything going to that Wayne State game, or is that just simply kind of contrasting styles in the Wayne State matchup as opposed to Augustana, which is very similar?
There certainly are contrasting styles. Augustana is very much like us. They've got positional size. They're really talented and skilled at 5 positions, and so they're extremely hard to cover with 5 guys connected. But our focus going into the next night was either we're going to play defense or we're not, and it's going to be a 50-50 proposition, whether you win or lose. And so they made the decision from a player-led standpoint to come together and play defense for 40 minutes to get us over the hump that next night.
When you look at this weekend's game, you got to go back on the road again. You're going to Marshall, Minnesota, going down to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. A couple of big matchups because obviously these cross-division matchups are big. Another team, Southwest, that likes to slow it down. You got Sioux Falls coming up on kind of an average pace team as far as I know. When you focus on this week's practice, other than specific game planning for each opponent, what type of thing are you guys focusing on as a team to prepare yourself for this road trip?
Yeah. Our mindset is always going to be about how we prepare for our opponent defensively, how we can steal enough points back. When you play a high-octane tempo, your opponent's going to score points.
Yeah, exactly.
We're right at around 74.5 possessions per game on the season. That's a top 20 pace in the country.
Yep.
And so to say that you're going to hold your opponent in the 50s and 60s every game, that's not possible. Right. However, when the game's on the line, are you going to be able to generate enough stops to get the separation you need to win? I think that's been our focus. And so we focus a lot more on personnel and then a lot more on scouting of opponents and trying to take away different actions throughout the course of the game.
This will be the second matchup against Southwest when you battle them on Friday. Does that give you kind of some other things to maybe think about things that may change? Because obviously Southwest is playing a lot better now that conference season has got here. And then how do you prepare for Sioux Falls?
Yeah, I think it's two teams that are coached by two coaches that instill toughness in their team. And so I think going into this weekend, that's the That's the constant. Sioux Falls is a different Sioux Falls than when Jack Thompson played for him.
So he's of no use.
He's of no use.
Yeah.
But they score it at a high clip.
Yeah.
And so, a little bit of a contrasting style that way, but the toughness, I think, is the one thing that we're gonna have to level up on if we want to compete in these games.
Well, are you expecting any type of changes from a Southwest squad that you've already faced? I mean, that you kind of have a familiarity with each other. Do you think they're going to try some different things, throw some different looks at you defensively? Because a lot of teams, they try and switch up matchups and switch up zone, man, etc., to try and catch you off guard. So you expect anything different from those guys?
I've known Brad Bigler probably since 2004. Obviously played for Tim Miles, my former boss, and changing things up is not his style. And so I would expect that they would do what they did against us the first time, but try to do it a little bit better. And so I fully expect that, and so we've got to do the same thing. Whatever formula we used to beat them the first time, we've got to be better than we were.
Right.
They are shooting the ball much better, and I think that's why you see their recent success.
All right, James and I are going to be there in Sioux Falls for that matchup against the Cougars. What's it going to take to get a win against Sioux Falls this weekend?
5 guys connected on the defensive end. Their pace isn't quite as fast as ours. Their efficiency in the half court is elite, and he's got some really good young players. And so we have to find a way to be efficient on our end, find as many good shots as possible, which we've done all year long. And then I said our toughness and our competitive spirit have to be there if we want to have a chance against a really tough team.
Competitiveness, toughness, defense, intensity, rebounding.
Yep.
Same keys every week, right?
All the things we need to get better at.
As I believe it was Rod Payne last week said, you can rip up the scouting report. You got to focus on what you do and do it obviously well.
Yes, he's a smart man.
There you go. All right, thank you for your time, Coach. Best of luck to you this weekend. We'll look forward to covering the game. It's Jace Denman alongside head coach of your Dragon men's basketball team, Jason Kemp. We'll talk to you soon.